Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. I'm very excited to have you here to learn more about Kintone Administration. So my name is Larissa Squires, and I'm a Customer Success Manager over here at Kintone. So before we jump into the training, let's go over some housekeeping. So you're likely listening using your computer speaker system, but if you prefer to join over the phone, just select telephone in the audio pane, and the dial-in information will pop up. If you have questions at any point, you can ask them by typing them into the questions pane of the control panel. We'll collect your questions and answer them during the Q&A session at the end. So what we'll be covering today. So we'll be reviewing Kintone Administration, and of that we'll be reviewing the different sections for apps, spaces, guests, permissions, customization, and then others. So let's jump right in. So from Portal Home, you can navigate to Kintone Administration by clicking this gear wheel and then move down to Kintone Administration. If you do not see this option, then you do not have permission to view these settings. So this first section you see is apps, so let's start there. We'll go into app management. So I like to call this a one-stop shop for all things apps. So in the top box, you can view your current usage, similarly to what you would see in the service usage section of users and system administration. So you'll see your limits and where you are currently. For records per app and fields per app, this is showing you the count for the app that has the highest record count or field count. So that's for these two. To upgrade, you can click License Upgrade, or you can reach out to your regional account executive. If you scroll down, you'll see a list of every single app you have in the platform. Let's review the column information you have available. So first you'll see ID. This is automatically assigned by the system when the app is created. If you open up an app, this ID will show in the URL. You may need this app ID if you're doing any customizations or integrations. Next, we have name. So this is the name assigned to the app. If you click into the name, it'll open the app up in a new tab. And then we have change settings column, which will show you a gear wheel. So if you click into that, it'll take you directly to the app settings page for the application. And then we have app group column, and this shows whether the app belongs to a public or private app group. A user who has system administration permission can see a list of all apps, regardless of whether the user has permission to access those apps, excluding the apps that belong to the private app group of other users. So next we have this status column. So this will display the status of the app. So there are three different ones. We have not activated, activated, or changed. So not activated indicates the app has been added, but not yet officially activated. So this means it won't show up in the apps on your main page. So to activate the app, you can click the app settings from this page, and then you can click activate the app. Activated just indicates that the app has been activated, and then we also have changed. So this indicates the app has been activated, but the setting changes have not yet been applied to the activated app. So to activate those settings, you would need to go to the app settings and click Update App. Next, we have this record column, which will show the number of records currently in the app. Fields will show the number of fields currently in the app. API requests per day shows the highest number of function calls made to the application programming interface for the given day. And then we have updated by, and this is going to show you who the last user was who updated the settings of the app. And if you click into their name, it's going to open up a new tab and take you to their profile page. And then we have updated date time. So this is going to show you the date and time that the settings were last updated. And you can click this to sort by the date. And then, of course, we have the trashed icon at the end. So this is going to delete the app. And then if you have lots of apps, you may need to toggle through the pages here. Lastly, you can also create an app from this page by clicking Create App up on the top left. And not only can you navigate here from the Kintone Administration, you can also do so by clicking the gear wheel, and then we do have app management right here. So lots of stuff you could do with app management. Create apps, go into the settings, delete apps. That's why I like to call it that one-stop shop for everything app. So let's go back to Kintone Administration. So now we'll hop over to app templates. So creating a template is going to be useful when users want to create multiple apps with similar settings. The templates created are available for non-administrative users to create apps, and templates can be exported to and imported from a file. Exported files can be imported into a different Kintone subdomain. So this app template, it's a model that users can use to create apps. So when users use an app template to create an app, the settings defined in the template are preemptively applied to the new app. The users can then customize the settings if necessary and quickly navigate the app, quickly activate the app. So with this page, you can view the current app templates you have, and then you'll see descriptions of what's included, and the app will include any images that are also included. So that'll all pop up here. You can also view who created it and the date it was created. If you see one that says app pack, this means that there's more than one app included in the app template. So when you use the app template, you will be adding in all the apps within the app template. So for example, this one will have 2. It'll download the outbound leads and the outbound companies app. You can also create new templates, import, export, and delete. So to create a new template, you'll click New, and then you can search for whichever app you want to do the template. So if you notice, I click Outbound Companies. These are all linked together with some sort of lookup field related records, so they'll all go in together. We'll do photo reports. So you'll choose your app, and then you'll click Next, and then you can name it. Photo library. Here you can change the icon. Here is where you can add in any template images. So if you took any screenshots of what the application looks like, it's just going to show up here so other people can get an idea of what template they are using. Description, so this will show up here as well. It's going to be a description of what the template's for. And then down here, if you do this app description, this is going to be what pops up in the app when it's activated. So it's just kind of an overview of what you're using that for. And then we'll click Save, and it'll come here. So please note, only Kintone admins can create templates from apps. Templates can only be created from activated apps, and templates will only include the app settings that are applied to the current environment. So you can import and export app templates via zip files. This allows you to import a template from another domain into your domain. So first, let's run through how to export the template we just created. So you'll click Export, select the template you'd like to export, and then come back up here and click Export. And then it'll pop up. You can change the file name if you'd like, and then you can hit Export. So notes for exporting: a file can contain up to 10 app templates. If you have images included with your templates and try to export more than 5 templates, then the 6 and those photos after will be omitted. So to import, you're going to click Import. You'll browse for the zip file. Let's see if we can. Okay, I have lots of zip files. So oh, there we go. Okay, and then you'll click Import. That was a different one. So that was for the video wiki. So that wasn't the one we just exported, but this is an example of what it would look like if you were to import something you previously exported. So notes for importing: only Kintone admins can import app templates. And do not decompress the template files. The template file must remain in zip format to be imported successfully. And opening a template file might decompress it, so make sure you keep it in that zip. And then lastly, you can delete your app template. So you'll just click delete, select the templates you'd like to remove, and then click delete. To view a list of settings not included in app templates, please visit our app template help article for further details. So next, we'll go back to Kintone Administration, and we'll hop down to Space Management. So a space is a workspace where you can add apps and collaborate with team members by viewing common information and discussion threads. On this page, Kintone administrators will be able to manage and view a list of the existing spaces. So this current usage box at the top will show you the amount of regular spaces and guest spaces you are allowed, and then how many you currently have. And if you'd like to add more, you can click license upgrade or reach out to your regional account executive. So we'll review what a guest space is in a little bit. So here you will see all of the spaces and then some information on them. So first we have the ID for the space, which is auto-assigned when the space is created. You'll also see this in the URL if you were to open up the space. Then the space name, and if you click the name, it will open up the space. We have the space type, which can be public, private, or guest. Public is available to everyone. Private is only available to those within the space, and then a guest space will allow you to add in guest users. And then here, the first number here shows you the amount of admins in the space, and then the second number shows the amount of members. Updated by shows the user who last made the update. If you click into their name, it'll take you to their profile. And then we have updated date time, shows you the date and time it was updated, and you can also sort. And then we have join or leave column, and this gives you the option to join or leave a space. If you are already a member, then you have the option to leave. If you are not a member, then you have the option to join as an administrator. So as an administrator, you have the right to join every space as an administrator. And then lastly, you can click the trash icon to delete the space. Deleting a space deletes all the data in the space, including apps placed in the space, and deleted spaces and apps cannot be restored. Go down to space template. So a space template is a model that users can use to create a copy of a space with the same design and settings. So this is similar to app, except it's for spaces. So the template created is available for non-administrative users to create their spaces. Templates can be exported to and imported from a file. Deleting the templates requires the Kintone Administration permission. So you will create space templates in the space template. Apps that are included in the space template. At the end, you'll see the arrow pointing down icon. And this is how you'll export the template. Exporting the template is how you can share the template and its apps with another subdomain. You can delete a space template by clicking the trash icon. And then if you come back over to the left and click the pencil icon, this allows you to change the name of the template, and it allows you to add a description. The description will show when you're adding in the space from a template. So if you're adding in a new space from template, this is just going to give someone a good idea on what the space template is used for. And lastly, you can click import on the top left to import a space template that was created from another subdomain. Now we'll go down to action management. So you can use an action in a thread to easily copy content into a new record in an app. You can automatically assign them to the author of a comment, automatically enter the comment text in the data in the fields of the app, or use other source and destination field mappings to map parts of the comment to a field in the target app. You can add in new actions from a comment in a thread. If you just hover over the comment, you will see the action. So this is, if you have a space, you can create threads. So each of those threads may be a different discussion topic. So for example, over here, we have a sales thread and we have a sales process thread. So it's just to discuss these different topics. So if you have somebody commenting, if you hover over the comment, you'll see the action button. So that allows you to push the comment, push what that person said into a record of an app. So this page is where you can manage those previously created actions. You can't create the action from this page, you have to create it from within a thread, but this is where you can manage those previously created actions. You can click the edit icon to edit the action. So we have name, this is going to be the title of the action. And then we have target, this is the app where a new record will be created. And text, posted date time, who it was posted by, and then the permalink for the comment. And then we have available to, you can decide here who will have access to this action. If you only put your own name, then no one else will have access to this thread action. So if you notice here, another user created this action, but as a Kintone administrator, I can manage all of the actions, even if I'm not a part of that. And then for reviewing the different actions, you have the name of the action, the app that's being targeted, the last person who updated it, and the updated date and time for when it was last updated. And then you can click the trash icon to delete that action. So again, as a Kintone administrator with access to this page, you can see all the actions created by other users, even if you're not listed in the available to. Now we will go over to guest management. So first I want to note what guests are. Guests belong to guest spaces that you have in Kintone. So this guest space allows you to collaborate with external partners, customers, etc. So anyone who's not a user of your platform, you can purchase a guest license for. So guests can view only the information in the guest space that you've invited them to join. You can purchase these guest licenses for $9 per user per month. And for more details on that, please contact your regional account executive, or you can send over a message to support@kintone.com and we'll get you in contact with the correct person. So guest management, you'll use this page to manage the Kintone guest users. Kintone administrators can change passwords for guests and delete guests. In this box at the top, you can see the number of guests you currently have in a trial, in use as paid, and then also the amount of guest account licenses you have available if you were to purchase multiple at a time. So here, under guest users, you can view a list of guests who have joined guest spaces and the guest license usage. So if I had a guest in here currently, you could click the edit icon, which will populate to the left, and there you'd be able to change the status of a guest. So a guest cannot access Kintone if their status was inactive. So in order for that guest to access it, their status would have to be active. You could also change the password of the guest and delete the guest. And then here you will see the company, display name, email, the status of that guest, the last date they logged in, and from which guest space they belong to. the license they're currently in, and then their expiration date. And then lastly, at the end, if we had a guest in here, you'd be able to click the trash can to delete the guest here as well. And then we have guest authentication. So two-step verification authentication is an authentication method that requires users to enter not only their email address and password, but also a unique verification code for every login. A verification code is valid only for one-time use and cannot be used for subsequent logins. So this will prevent unauthorized logins even when a password is leaked to others. So guests receive their verification code at the email address specified for login. So to enable this feature, just click the checkbox that says use two-step verification for guest authentication, and then you'll click save. Next, we'll hop down to permission management. So use the permission management page to add and remove permissions for users, groups, and departments. The administrator always has all these permissions. So priority shows the order permissions are applied to the selected user, department, or group when you add a row to the table. When you add a row, the arrow icon displays. On the left side of the row, permissions applied in the top row take precedence over rows under it. So to change the rows, you just drag and drop with the arrow icon. The user, department, or group column shows to whom the permissions apply. The default is everyone. So this down here, you cannot edit this everyone group. But just remember, since it takes precedence, sales is included in everyone, but since I added them and gave them almost all the permissions, they do have access to this. Since it's above, it takes precedence over what's below. So the permission inheritance column determines whether or not all child or sub-departments are included in the assigned permissions. So you'll check the box to grant the same permissions to the child or sub-department. And then you can grant permissions of users to control system administration, to view or edit app group settings, create apps, create spaces, and or create guest spaces by checking the boxes in the appropriate column. So here you can add in a new one, and then at the end you'll be able to delete. One thing I do want to note is if you give someone permission here for system administration, I don't want to get that confused with the back end of users and system administration. So by clicking allow for this system administration, you're actually giving the user access to Kintone Administration. So you're giving them access to what we're reviewing today in today's training. And then you click save. So now we'll head down to app groups. So an app group is a group that enables you to manage the permissions of multiple apps collectively. Every app must belong to an app group, and the following app groups are predefined. So first we have public. So an app that is assigned to the public app group is open to all users by default. You can configure the permissions of the app group to restrict specific users from creating or using apps. You can also restrict user access through individual app settings. And then we also have a private app group, and one that's assigned to private is open only to the user who created the app. So apps that are used only by the creator are added to this app group. Any user can create an app that is assigned to the private app group as long as the user has permission to create apps. So the app group can allow or disallow users, department, and groups from creating the apps that are assigned to the group, and manage, use, and delete apps that are assigned to the group. So it's just another way to restrict the permission. So the users can't perform the actions that are not allowed by the app group, and this is going to be regardless of whether the actions are allowed by the app's permission settings. So this means the app group settings take precedence over the individual app settings. Creating or managing app groups does require Kintone Administration. And then this default app group shows the default group an app is when you create it. You can select public, private, or any app group you have created. from the drop-down to change the default group. So the app group section shows information about each group. You can click the edit icon, and this will just have you edit the name. And then we have the ID, which shows the app group ID automatically assigned by the system. And then click permissions to open up the permissions for app groups page where you can view and edit the permissions. So this is where you can add in the new permissions. So drag the arrow icon in the priority column up or down to change the priority of the permissions. The top row always has the highest priority, and these permissions will take precedence over what's below. So very similar to the other priority settings we have. And then you'll either enter a user, group, or department, or use the user selector to grant the permission. Check the box under permission inheritance to allow the permissions to apply to all members of the affiliated department. And then you can check the box for create apps to allow those members to create the apps, and then check the box under manage apps to allow selected members to manage the apps. Then you can delete at the end over here, and you'll add new ones here. And then you'll click assigned apps. So this will show you a list of all the apps in the group. So I have everything in the public app group, and I don't have anything in this training group. And then you can click delete at the end to delete the app group, and you cannot delete the public app group. To add in the new app group, you'll click new app group on the top left, enter the name of the new group, and click save. And then you'll click the permissions to edit those. And then you can change an app's app group from within the app settings of the individual app. Now we'll go down to JavaScript and CSS customization. This training might go a little bit over the allotted time, lots of information for Kintone Administration. So here within JavaScript and CSS customization, you can change the look and feel of Kintone using customization. You can upload JavaScript and CSS files to affect the platform system-wide. For JavaScript, you can upload different files for PC and mobile devices, including the smartphone app. And then with CSS, you can only upload files for PC. The uploaded files are applied to all web pages except for the system administration, the app management page, personal settings, and any graphs embedded in external sites by using the embed tag. App-specific customization will have to be configured in the individual app settings. So this is just going to be for system-wide here in Kintone Administration. And then please note JavaScript and CSS customization is not covered by Kintone support, but we do have a developer network where you can go to access help from other developers who are using Kintone. And if you do have a need for customization, open a ticket by emailing support@kintone.com, and someone will be in touch to schedule a scoping call with one of our sales engineers to discuss your project. And then we'll go to header color. So you can change the color of the header bar by choosing one of the colors below or entering a 6-digit hexadecimal color code, and then you'll click save. So this is going to change the bar up here. So if you'd like a specific color, but you don't know the code and it's not listed here, you can just do a quick Google search to find out what that hexadecimal color code is. And then now we're down to other. So we'll look at feature activation. So first we'll review email notifications. So this is one of the steps that needs to be taken in order to set up the email notifications. You'll need to first check activate email notifications box. By default, this is going to be deactivated. And then we have the email format. You can select HTML or plain text email. So the HTML email will be formatted, whereas the plain text will be sent unformatted. So it will contain no special formatting or graphics. Default setting for users' personal settings. You can pick never send notifications or send only notifications where I am mentioned, just as a default choice for users who have not previously changed their personal settings. And then within their own personal settings, each user can change the notifications they'd like to receive for their email. Once you set up the email notifications, you will need to also set up specific settings for each app on what you want them to be notified on. And then down here for spaces and people, you can uncheck the boxes to disable the spaces and people features. By default, they are all activated. So unchecking activate spaces will deactivate regular spaces and guest spaces. And then you can deactivate guest spaces without deactivating the regular spaces. So this is just because a guest space is considered a space. If you decide to deactivate and you want the features back, to reactivate and restore the data for spaces and people, you'll just check the box. Deactivating these features will not lose your data. So you can, for a period of time, you don't want any spaces, you can deactivate, and later they'll pop back up when you reactivate that feature. We'll go to plugins. So a plugin is a software module that you can install into an app to enhance its capabilities. So this is where you will install and view previously imported plugins. Click Import and Browse for the plugin zip file, and then you click Import. While viewing the plugins, you will see the name of the plugin, a description of what it's used for, and then you will see a list of apps that are currently using the plugin. You can delete the plugin by clicking the trash can all the way to the right. To add a plugin to an app, you will need to visit the app settings. And then you can view a list of our available plugins on the add-ons page of our website and also in the developer network. So if you see here, I have 4 plugins. These are available to you as the customer. If you visit our Kintone developer network, you can download those files and start playing around with those. Lastly, default view for mobile browsers. So here you will decide on settings when you or someone view or desktop view as default. By checking the box, allow users to switch between mobile optimized view and desktop view, you are allowing your users to toggle between the different views while visiting from a mobile browser. So if this was unchecked, they'll only be able to view what you've chosen here as their default. So by default, mobile optimized view is selected and users are allowed to switch between the 2 views. So these would be the default settings. All right, so we're a couple minutes over, but that concludes our training for Kintone Administration. So we're now going to begin answering some of the questions that you submitted during today's presentation. As a reminder, you can still submit questions through the questions pane in your attendee control panel, and I'm just gonna give you a minute to formulate any questions that you have. All right, so let's review a few questions. So what happens if you delete a plugin while it's installed in active apps? So it's going to add a new section on the plugins page, and it's going to be called not installed. So it will take away the settings of the plugin within the app, and a note will pop up in the app at the top in red saying the plugin is not installed properly. You can delete the plugin from within the app in the app settings. And then you can also re-import the file and it will go back to being accessible in that app. However, it will delete the settings that you've previously set up, so you'll have to go back into that application to reset those plugin settings. Do guest users have access to my entire domain? No, guest users only have access to the guest space in which you invited them to. Upon login, it will be directed to that guest space and not the portal home that you and your regular users would see. Do I have to export and re-import my space templates to allow my team to use ones I've already created? You do not. So once you create the space template, it's going to automatically show as an option for your team to choose from when they click create a new space button. And then lastly, what's the purpose of creating an action for commenting? So that was for action management. So one thing I find is that I get lots of notifications, and sometimes it's very hard to keep up with or to do what's needed if someone made a request by commenting on a thread. So we get lots of notifications, so sometimes things get lost. So I can create my own app and maybe call it tasks. Then when I get a request from a comment that I can't act on right away, I'm just going to use that action button to push that comment into my task app so that I can later review it and take action on what I need to do. And then it also allows you to push over the permalink to that app, to that task app, so you can go directly back to that comment if you need to review what others have said. So that's more personal. I'd say team-wide, you can use actions to, it'll help if you're collaborating on a project. So if someone has a great next step or an idea for a project, it'll allow you to push that idea into an app so that you can take further action and so you can track that progress. So instead of just, trying to find what idea that was, where it was, who has to take action on it, instead of doing that, you can just push it into an app, and then you'll have those settings all set up so that you and your team can take action and nobody forgets. So I know we are a little bit over, so that's all the time we have for questions. So I want to thank everyone for attending today's live training session. If you have any more questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to support@kintone.com. So you're going to receive an email in the next 24 hours with this webinar recording. It will also be up on our YouTube channel. So on behalf of Kintone, thank you for joining us, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.